What I want to kind of talk about today is, first of all, where did Great Lakes lifting come from? I think to understand Great Lakes lifting, you have to kind of know our past to get to our present. So the first thing is, where did Great Lakes come from? It's a family business, me and my dad's brainchild, that's been around for 10 years now. Actually, it's probably longer than that. It was 2006. I was graduating high school. I went to school to become a police officer for a couple months. I realized really quick that college and schooling wasn't for me. At the same time, my dad found some cranes called spider cranes out in Arizona. And he saw these things, thought they were going to change the world. They have changed the world in construction, in our opinion. But he bought some of the first spider cranes to ever come to the U.S. off the dealer out in Arizona, shipped them to Chicago. Said it's like 2007, and he thought we were going to sell them like hotcakes. Once someone saw this thing, every crane company in Chicago was going to have one tomorrow, and it was going to be the best thing ever. 2008 comes, and now everybody knows what happens in 2008, big recession. This time we have 10 cranes, and we haven't sold one yet. I kind of looked at my dad, and I was ready to be done with the college thing and whatnot, and I said, hey, what do you think about trying to rent these cranes out? He said, we got to do something with them. They're sitting here collecting dust, and we're taking a bath. So we started renting out the cranes. So that's kind of how we got into the glass industry in the first time. I didn't know anything about the glass industry. I didn't really know a glass industry existed, but we started renting cranes out to glaziers to install curtain walls. So that was kind of my intro to glazing. We're doing all that. Everything's going great with the cranes. I'm kind of full of piss and vinegar. And I wanted to prove to everybody that knew me at the time, I was 23, 24, that I didn't need to work for my dad. I could go do something by myself. So the crane company was doing very well, but I decided to leave it and go do a scrap and demolition company where I specialized in cutting up locomotives. When I was doing that, that was really hard work, and I learned what hard work was doing that, running a torch in 100-degree weather. It's, cutting locomotives up into 3-foot by 5-foot pieces. So you're sweating, you're burning yourself, breathing in chemicals. Realized very quickly it wasn't something that I wanted to do forever, but I had a job that I had to keep doing. This point in time, just by chance, I had a couple of glass companies that we were still doing business with that were my customers that would call me up when they needed the cranes, and they started calling me up asking me for something different. The glass was getting bigger. We're like in 2014 now, and labor's kind of hard to find. Everything's on the rise. By chance, we find these smart lifts. So now I start Googling, do some research on the smart lifts. I send some emails out to some current customers. I ask them if I bought one of these, would they rent it? Could they use it? They've told me, yes, okay, let's try it out. I then go to my dad, and I tell my dad, hey, Dad, look, I found this new machine. I think we need to try to get some. We do some more research. We talk to the guys in Denmark. A couple months later, we have a machine at our shop. We're looking at it, and we're like, oh, this looks good. Once again, we still don't know nothing about glass. We've installed a couple curtain walls, and my dad, by trade, is an electrician. Owns another company, a sign installation business. But he's always been in construction, and he realized very quickly that this thing's going to solve some problems, and we really couldn't find anything else in the marketplace like it. So let's get some. Next thing you know, he worked out a deal with the guys from Denmark, and we had 50 machines coming to the U.S. We didn't have a customer for them. We didn't know nothing about glazing, but we believed that we could sell this new machine called SmartLift. When we did that, I sold off my scrap company, went back to work for the family business, and decided that that was going to be the best thing for us to go back and work for family business. I lost my sorry, I got sidetracked. So we just get our first shipment of machines in, and we're looking at them. I sold off my scrap company, come back to work for the family business, and we're going, what are we going to do now? When we first got the first smart lifts in, we only had a small portion of the states where we could really sell the machines. Our company was a regional business. It was Great Lakes Lifting is the name of the company, and we're selling the machines around the Great Lakes. Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio was the first couple states that we could sell the equipment in. But we also had the opportunity to be able to sell the machines anywhere in the country where they didn't have a dealer. At the time, SmartLift had no machines in the U.S., so it gave us the opportunity to be able to start to sell the machines everywhere. We had these machines at the shop, and we had to figure out how we're going to start selling them. So I had a game plan. I started listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, and Gary Vaynerchuk was telling me to start to use LinkedIn. So our game plan to sell the machines was to go out like old vacuum cleaner salesmen, put the machines in the back of the truck, go to a glass shop, knock on the door, and tell them that we had a machine that could lift up glass and try to install it. Sometimes the guys would come out, sometimes they wouldn't. But as we started, we were able to sell off first couple machines. I think we went halfway through our first container, and it was in the first month or two. At this point, my dad realized that the smart lifts were going to be big in America. We had to try to protect ourselves so we can grow the business to as big as possible to spread the machines all across the country. So at that point in time, he went to Denmark, negotiated a deal where we had 3 years to sell the machines anywhere in the country that we wanted to. So we had to agree to a large number of machines to get over to do that. So next you know, we have 100 machines plus coming into the States. And it was still kind of on blind faith, believing in the industry. We were able to open up some locations all over the country, but using LinkedIn, Facebook, Glazier Nation, we started to build some traction on the glazing industry, started to receive the machines. So one day we're sitting at the shop, and my dad figured out, how are we going to sell these machines? And he came up with this motto, and it became our mission, actually. And it was, how do we stop asking glazers to do things with their bodies that no other trade would ever think of? So we start telling every customer that. How can we stop asking these glazers to do things with their bodies that no other trade would ever think of doing? And how do we explain that into another way? So then we start telling the guys, all right, so we have a 4x8 sheet of steel outside of your shop, and you're going to move it around. When you want to move that, you're going to pick up a crane, a forklift, something to move that sheet of steel around. You have this 4x8 sheet of steel, and you want to turn it into glass. So you take a magic wand, it turns into glass, and we're going to move it around. How are we going to do that? Well, now we just go get guys with handcuffs and move it around, because glass is fragile. We don't want to break it. We have to figure out how we're going to move it safely. That's where the smart lifts came in. So the smart lifts have started to solve that problem. You know, the industry has taken on very well. The glazers in the field have taken it and received it. To now we see the machines all over the country. Yeah, so let me tell you the story of how we sold smart lifts all across the country in 3 years. How we sold 700 machines, right? That's so. Me and my wife, now my wife, at the time she was my girlfriend, then fiance. She developed a lot throughout the way. But we took a van, and we would put smart lifts in the back of our van, and we would drive across the country, all over the country, and we would knock on doors. In 2018, I spent 150 days in a hotel. We doubled in 2019 and went like 250 days in a hotel. We were catching flights, flying all over the country. I'd be in Phoenix one day, New York City the next day, and Atlanta, Georgia the third day. It was some of the wildest times of my life. It was also some of the funnest times of my life, because I got to go to almost every state in the country. We got to meet with glass owners everywhere and just show the machine. It was something where I could call you up and I could tell you about the machine as much as I want. I could talk to you on blue in the face. If I could show up to your shop and I could pull the machine out of the back of my truck and have you pick up a piece of glass and turn it around and actually utilize it, that's when things started to change. So it took a lot of work. There was no excuse for anything. The only answer we knew was yes. On our wall at our shop, we have a saying that my dad's ingrained into my head my entire life. It says, there's no such word as can't. We did everything we possibly could do humanly to make sure that every machine was up and running when a customer needed it. Whether it was one of our customers calling up when we first got the machines and we didn't understand them enough, and they're 13 hours away and they just got their machine and said it was broke the second day, guess who was there in the morning when they needed their machine fixed? We were. When a customer tells you that's 2,800 miles across the country and tells you you have better service than the guy 2 blocks away, you know you're doing something right. So that's kind of how we made the SmartLift name. what the smart lifts really are today was by making sure, one, we outworked everybody. I don't think that anybody could work any harder for the amount of time we did it. And two, to make sure that the service was always what everyone expected. The service side is our most important thing. You know, the money came with selling the machines, but the money was never the goal. The goal was just to provide great customer service and to solve the problem for the customer and hope that everything else would come into play afterwards. I guess the biggest question is where's Great Lakes Lifting today and what's Smart Lift to Great Lakes Lifting now? Great Lakes Lifting today is a dealer for Smart Lift. We handle 9 states for them: Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, Wisconsin. Last year, the manufacturer decided that their best interest moving forward was going to be to set up a sales distribution center here in the U.S. themselves. And it's going to do some good things for the marketplace in the future. Great Lakes Lifting now, when we take the spider cranes, it was the first machine that we ever brought or dealt with in the U.S. that nobody knew about. Then fast forward 5 years later, now we bring on the Smart Lift. These are two pieces of equipment that have changed construction forever moving forward. A mom pop shop, you know, a father-son that don't really even know that much, you know. We're not college educated. Most people would say we're just dumb hillbillies. But we work hard, right? So we realize that one thing that we can do is we can provide service, and we've built relationships with enough customers in the industry that we can move products. You know, we can take a manufacturer that has a very good system, a good product that may not be known, that may need some type of distribution channel, and we can solve that. We could be that for them. So that's what we're looking for now. We've now taken on the Woods Power Grip line and had great success with those guys. We've taken on the Vala cranes. We've got the Smart Lifts. We have the Spider cranes. We have everything that you need to be able to install glass on a high-rise. If we don't have it, we're going to get it. You know, we're making sure that we're vetting our vendors to make sure that we're getting good product out in the marketplace, but just applying what the marketplace needs. The glass industry has accepted me and Great Lakes Lifting open arms over the past couple of years. The industry itself is an industry that I absolutely love, for the reason that it's small, but it's huge. So moving forward, I don't see myself not being in the glass industry. I don't have any kids, so I can't say that I have hopes for kids to follow me along, but I hope to be coming to Glass Build and going to glazing events when I'm 60 and having friends in the industry that I've had for 20, 30, 40 years. What I want to, you know, as a team at Great Lakes Lifting, what we want to do moving forward is we want to just provide glazers with items that they need. Our biggest focus is more on the niche equipment side. I enjoy solving the problems of installing the glass. As things continue to evolve, I believe that there's going to be new equipment that's going to be needed. As we continue to panelize systems and systems become bigger and larger, we're going to need a whole new breed of equipment, and that's what we're looking to bring to the marketplace in the future. Right now, I know there's a lot of different external sales teams out there that sell products all over the place. I also know that our team cannot be outworked at Great Lakes Lifting. So we could take a product that may not sell elsewhere and be able to sell it. It's been one thing that we've spent some time thinking about trying to expand in is we work with a lot of the contract glazers in the field. The field works great. That's my love. I'm a construction guy. I like building things. But we've also thought a lot about how can we start to get inside the fabrication part? How can we be a part of the process before we get into the field to help us get, to help us get into the field better? So maybe maybe our future has something inside of selling something inside the fabrication shop, helping assemble inside the shop, a robotics deal. Those are all things that we're kind of looking at, you know. So right now I'm still young at this game. Even though we did the Smart Lift thing and it took a lot of energy out of me, I still have a lot of energy left. My hobby's racing cars. I can go from 0 to 100 in no time. I'm full of energy. If you know me, you probably think that I'm on ADD pills or something, because I'm going to come at you with a right and a left hook. But that being said, I have a lot of energy left. I have a lot of time left, and we're not done at Great Lakes Lifting. We're going to continue to move forward and find new product that we can push, as well as continue to serve the products that we already have. Working with the guys at SmartLift has been great. Working with the guys at Spotter Crane, working with the guys at Violet Crane, working with Woods Power Cup. Those vendors are what makes us. We're nothing without our vendors, so our vendors are huge to us. But we can also still take on more. We're not at capacity. We're ready to come on and start something new and to give something new 110%. It's there's something about it in me that makes me tick when I'm going with 100 balls in the air. That's when I'm doing my best. When I'm sitting around twiddling my thumbs, I've got too much time in my hand. I got to do something. When we took on the SmartLifts 3 years ago, we had 700 plus machines we had to sell. Had no idea how we were going to do it. But with the help of Glazier Nation, with the help of NGA, with the help of Glass Build, with the help of the entire glass industry, we were able to conquer a mountain that most people thought was impossible. The glass industry will always have a special spot with me, and I just want to say thanks to the glass industry for taking our family business in with open arms and embracing us.